Special counsel Robert Mueller has agreed to appear before the House Judiciary and Intelligence committees to answer questions next week, and Republicans are ready to give him the grilling of his career. In the second part of an exclusive interview with One America's John Hines, Judiciary Committee member Jim Jordan spoke about the infamous Steele dossier and his strategy for Mueller's upcoming appearance before Congress.
You mentioned the dossier. Unpack that a little bit.
Well, so go back. I mean, I think this is interesting. During that 10-month time, when the FBI is investigating, and they found no evidence, during that time, remember what they did? They took a document that was financed by the other party's campaign, the Clinton campaign. They took that document to a secret court, didn't tell the court who paid for it, didn't tell the court the guy who wrote it was bias against the president, so much so that he said he was desperate to stop Trump, and they knew that. Didn't tell the court that Christopher Steele was terminated by the FBI because he's out talking to the press. They didn't tell him all that, and they used that document as the basis to get the warrant to go spy on the Trump campaign. Not once, but 4 times. So that all happened during a time when they found nothing. So I think talking about the dossier, asking questions about the dossier, I think that'll definitely happen.
Is it true that Ms. Page and Mr. Strzok were allowed to, I guess they either erased their phones or they didn't turn in their phones to the FBI? And is that an obstruction of justice on the part of the FBI?
It's a great question, but it underscores something that I think is really important. I believe the most important investigation going on is the one that John Durham is heading up, the one he's been tasked to do by the Attorney General of the United States, and to get to the bottom of how this all started. I've said this several times, but I think it's really telling, and I've been so impressed with the Attorney General, where he, when he testified 10, 12 weeks ago in front of the United States Senate, he said 4 interesting things. He said there was a failure of leadership at the upper echelon of the FBI, for sure. Comey's fired, McCabe's fired, lied 3 times under oath, Baker's been demoted and left, Peter Strzok demoted and fired, Lisa Page demoted and left. I mean, these are the top people. He said spying occurred. He said there's a basis for his concern about the spying that took place. And then 4th, he mentioned the terms unauthorized surveillance and political surveillance. So that getting to the bottom of how this thing all got started is so important. And I believe Attorney General Barr is starting from the right premise.
So you would want to explore that, I assume, right?
Heck yeah, heck yeah. I mean, how that may happen in questions, I don't know, and who may do that, I'm not sure. And I don't know necessarily if it's part of this hearing next week, but it underscores why it's so important to figure out how this happened.
What about the FISA process? What do you want to know about the FISA process, the FISA warrant process against Carter Page? Were there other FISA warrants? Is that something you plan to pursue?
Well, I think we mostly want to focus on this one with Carter Page. I don't know if there were others, but that's the one that I think was so central, because that's the one that, you know, that's the first one that happens before the election, happens in October of 2016, and it's obviously, as we've said, based on the dossier.
I'm struck by the number of contacts with British former intelligence people. You've got this Mifsud guy, this Halper guy. Supposedly Mr. Downer, who was the ambassador, had some affiliations with the British intelligence, and then you have Mr. Steele. And it all started in London. What is the connection there? And is this something that you would be interested in asking more about, finding out what potentially the details are, and they may have found out?
Well, remember what, again, the Attorney General said. He said he's not limiting his investigation to just the Justice Department and the FBI. He's going to look at, when he said, remember the context was spying, he said he's going to look at the broader picture, which would get to finding out exactly what you're at. I don't know. Take the Mifsud character, not a character, as an individual. Was he Western intelligence asset? Was he Russian? I think it's a legitimate question. A lot of evidence suggests he's probably Western, but we don't know. But Attorney General Barr has indicated he wants to find those kind of things out too. So his investigation is, he was clear when he said that he is not limiting just to the Justice Department. That's important to find out the answers to questions like you just posed.
Any other thoughts leading up to the hearing?
Trying to get prepared, trying to be ready so that the American people can get the truth. I mean, that's always the goal, is to ask the questions in such a way that you garner the truth for the taxpayers and for the citizens of this country. And that's what we're trying to do.
Congressman Jim Jordan, thank you for talking to One American News.
You bet. Thank you.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.